Hello, today I'm looking at Dragon Quest from TSR from 1992. It's a kind of a entry-level light D&D kind of game to demonstrate Dungeons and Dragons concepts. Looks pretty interesting. Standard kind of TSR art here. I got the special edition, which includes some metal miniatures from Partha, which is nice. It's an unusual size box. It's like 8.5 by 12.5 by 4 inches. Seems, a little bit compact for all the components it contains, but it's well done. Of course, a game master, the equivalent like a dungeon master, and then it's got 6 different characters that can play against the game master. And it's targeted towards a younger audience, looks like. Ages 10 and up. The world of the Dragon Quest game is full of evil dragons, mysterious dungeons, horrible monsters, and fatal traps, and valuable treasure. You and up to 5 of your friends can roleplay fierce warriors, magical wizards, even elves and dwarves. Step by step, the danger and suspense increase as your party experiences one adventure after another, especially when you make up new adventures as you go. Credits designed by William W. Connors and David Wise, editing by David Wise, project coordination Bruce Hurd, box cover art by Jeff Easley, interior art by Brom, Clayton Caldwell, Jeff Easley, Larry Elmore, Fred Fields, Carol Heyer, Roger Lovelace, and Keith Parkinson. Map art by Robin Rubb and Diesel. Stand-up art by Robin Rubb. Here's the rulebook. I won't go through the rules and details, but I'll show it in an example of play. It's a 32-page rulebook by William W. Connors and David Wise. Nice 1990s D&D illustrations there. And the cover of the rulebook can be used as a Dungeon Master screen. Got some good reference, got the turn sequence chart, finding the attack number, damage chart, weapons chart, monster reaction table, ability adjustments, and talks about the dice. Goes through the components, alignments, talks about the heroes. Getting your heroes ready, setting up the game, starting the game, adventuring, moving up, being a good DM, being a good player, and character sheet. Some color illustrations. Looks like it's got the standard D&D values of strength, intelligence, wisdom, dexterity, constitution, charisma, class, levels, armor class, hit points. The alignments you can have are good, neutral, and evil. Talks about monster alignments, and here's got human classes. The 4 human classes are fighter, rogue, wizard, and cleric. Then there's demi-human, which are the elf, dwarf, and halfling. And it's got a map you can mark up. Then you have the adventure book by William W. Connors and David Wise. It's 24 pages. And also it has the cover that comes off, and it shows the various elements of the game board that are used for the different missions. There's the Call to Glory, Eisenmund Blade, and the Jaws of Flame. And then you can make up your own adventures as well. Then the 3 adventures. Gives an overview here first. First adventure is Call to Glory. In this adventure, the heroes explore an old mine. It was created long ago by an ancient family of dwarves. They left when they found that a mysterious evil force was trapped below the mountain. There's the map. The text in the boxes are what the Dungeon Master reads to the players. Starts by exploring the dungeon, various aspects of it, which correspond to the map here. Second adventure is the Eisenmund Blade. In this adventure, the heroes try to find the missing Eisenkern. Without this magical stone, the evil at the heart of the mountain has begun to stir. Earthquakes have begun to shake the village of Torlin, and the people are beginning to fear for their safety. Seems very clean how it's laid out, like how they talk about the elements of the map and what's going on in each, and it's very clear what you say to the adventurers. Then the last mission is the Jaws of Flame. In this adventure, the heroes travel into the newly opened caves that form the dragon's lair. Without the Eisenkern to contain the beast, they must now seek to destroy it. This might be impossible, except that the magical sword, Jamnar, is especially powerful when used against this dragon. Then it talks about creating your own dungeons. It says you also have the option of creating your own cards. So it seems like a pretty good layout, not only for the players of how to play, but also gives you a kind of intro of DMs, how to create dungeons, so that's nice. Here's the adventurer options. There's 9 different possible adventurers. It shows an image on the back side, and then on the front side it shows the characteristics. It shows the ability levels and then their modifiers. And the modifiers are what you add to your die roll. Armor class, hit points. On each character there's the fighting value and also the move spaces, which is move is self-explanatory. Fighting, when you do combat, you take the fighting score minus the armor class of the opponent, and then the difference is the roll you need in order to hit. So different character choices we have here are a first level neutral rogue, first level neutral warrior, first level good elf, first level neutral wizard, first level neutral halfling, first level good cleric, first level neutral dwarf, first level good cleric, first level good fighter. And shows advantages. For instance, the rogue can fight traps, making an ability check on dexterity. Shows their starting equipment, which you'll take from the equipment cards. And then some neat background to give you some flavor. And there's 9 choices of characters, but there's only 6 different figures. It'd be handy if there were 9 figures that correspond, directly to these, but I guess you can choose the one that best kind of fits the look you're kind of going for. And in this special edition, you also get these metal ones, which are basically the metal versions of the plastic ones, so they each represent the 6. And they're standard D&D size. Scaler shows scale, but also with these early miniatures, this one actually wouldn't stand upright unless I had something there to help it. For monsters and doors and other things you find in the dungeon, it's got these foldable stand-ups, which, that'd be a lot of miniatures if these were miniatures, which, they didn't do that back in the day, so this is what the monsters are now. There's 180 of these, and I'll show the unique ones. For each of the 9 unique characters, there's also stand-ups you can use with their names. Guess you could use those instead of the miniatures if you want to. The unique stand-ups, you got doors here, of course. And then for monsters, I got all the dragons here that are in there. For each monster, you have a reference card here that shows the fighting level, attacks, damage, armor class, hit points, alignment, and movement. For instance, here they can move 3 spaces or 8 flying. Give you some background. Blue dragons live in deserts and plains. They can spit out a lightning bolt at any hero 10 spaces away or closer. Gives it some more information. So you have blue dragons, white dragons, red dragons, gold dragons, black dragons, and green dragons. And we have the stand-ups and cards for gargoyles, hobgoblins, skeletons, ogres, trolls, goblins, wraiths, werewolves, orcs, lizard men, and zombies. And we have giant rats, griffin, giant scorpion, fire giant, giant fire beetles, kobold, wood golem, armor golem, stone giant, and death hound. And all these stand-ups have on one side the image and the other a blackened out image. The more monsters we have the chimera, mummy, wyvern, ice golem, cyclops, minotaur, giant spider, owlbear, giant bat, bugbear, direwolf, and ghoul. And have werebear, were-rat, giant viper, giant lizard, gnoll, white, hill giant, harpy, frost giant, shadow, and smeldon. And I'm not, in my stand-up for the giant viper says giant snake. I don't know if that's a misprint or maybe I got the wrong thing in the box, whatever, but I would kind of like if that would say the same, but it says it's supposed to come with 7 dice, but I have 8, so more's always better, I guess. Seems like the extra one is just black 8-sided dice. I don't know if that's normal or not, but I have 4-sided, 6-sided, these 2 8-sided, and then 2 10-sided, so you can use these as percentile dice. If one is the 1s and one is the 10s, 12-sided dice and a 20-sided dice. And I mean, you can tell they're early 90s dice, look a little bit different feel to them than modern dice. Numbers may be a little bit different, and the roundings may be a little bit different, but they're nice. In addition to the character and monster cards, you have several other cards. You have spell cards. You have 16 spell cards for wizards and elves, 16 spell cards for clerics. You have special item cards that'll come into play during different adventures. You have trap cards, equipment cards, and treasure cards. Then also you have these blank cards, which can be used to make your own cards. It's handy to make different traps or items. For the spell cards, description on the back of what it is, name on the back of what it is, of course. And then for the wizard elf, example is magic missile, type, range, some kind of description here. And then traps, for instance, stream of acid, tells you the ability check, damage. Items, for instance, and your character cards tells you which ones you're starting out with. For instance, short sword, size, damage, 1d6, range. And there's 30 of these equipment cards. And there's 30 of these treasure cards you can come across in your adventures. For instance, Batopa, size, large, damage 1d8 plus 1, range 1. It's a black battle axe. And these are special items that you come across in your adventures. For instance, fountain. This room contains a large stone fountain that sprays water into the air. If you drink some water, roll 1d6, see what happens. And there's 10 of these special item cards, 10 trap cards. It includes an excellent game board. It's very large. It's 32 inches by 24. It seems that each square is 5 feet. It's very versatile, and this is used for all the adventures. And in each, they tell the dungeon master how to set it up, and you use these doors to, track, what rooms are available. The ones that aren't available, of course, won't have a door going to them. Very well done. Turn sequence summary chart here. You can get this game at a reasonable price. It may even be worth it just for this awesome board. Here's a turn sequence. Make a wandering monster check. You roll 1d6. If it's 1 to 5, no monster. If it's a 6, you consult the adventure for the possible monsters that appear. Then you allow adventurers to explore, do ability checks, hero calls for actions, Place monster and stand-up figures in game board. Check for surprise. DM and one player roll 1d6. DM rolls 1 or 2, monsters are surprised. If player rolls 1 or 2, the heroes are surprised. Check monster reactions on the table. Check hero reactions. Roll for initiative. Perform combat. Allow heroes to regroup and continue the adventure. I'll do a partial play to show the concepts. And I'll be doing the adventure Call to Glory. This adventure, the heroes explore an old mine. It's created long ago by an ancient family of dwarves. They left when they found the mysterious evil force was trapped below the mountain. When the heroes explore, they'll find it is a new home to a tribe of goblins, and this is for the dungeon master to know, and the stuff that he tells the adventurers are in the boxes. Before the adventure begins, the DM should, from the monster deck, take out the bugbear, gnoll, goblin, hobgoblin, golden, and orc. These are the possible wandering monsters. Here's the setup of the map. Dungeon Master begins the game by telling the players that the heroes have been called before Gustavon. He's a burgomaster of Torlin. Torlin is a small village set in a quiet, hilly area near the mountains. The heroes have lived there for many years and think Torlin is a home. So the DM reads to the players. It's a dark autumn night in the village of Torlin. Outside, a freezing wind rips through the last leaves from the trees and splatters falling raindrops against the windows. Only the fire blazing in the nearby fireplace keeps you warm on this stormy night. A short, heavy man enters the room. He has a thick mustache and silver monocle in his eye. With a grunt, he drops into a chair and politely smiles at your company. Hello, my friends, he says very seriously. Thank you for coming on this awful night. I've called you here because the people of Torlin have need of brave heroes such as yourselves. In the ones above the town is an old iron mine. It was dug long ago by the clan of dwarves. They took out all the iron there and then moved on to other places to look for more. Over the past few weeks, reports have come to me of strange lights and sounds coming from the old mine. People are scared and worried. Please go to the mine, explore it, find out if there is something wrong there, or if these reports are nothing but wild dreams of fools. The characters I'll choose for the adventure party are Mikhail, the good fighter, Andres, neutral warrior, Phoenix, neutral dwarf, Glorin, good elf, Dosmius, good cleric, and Auron, neutral wizard. Here's the starting setup. The heroes are starting in this room here. And to keep track of who's who, all of the matching metal miniatures go on their cards there. Then also have got their equipment here in this pile. So the heroes in the starting chamber. You stand just inside a rough cavern, cut from the stone of the mountain long ago by dwarvish hands. This is the entrance to the mine. Behind you, a cold wind blows as if it would push you into the unknown. There's only one way to go now, forward and into the darkness of the mine. Gathering your courage and checking your weapons, you start down into the mine shaft. Then the heroes will commence going into the mine shaft. You go with their movement allowance. You go 4. The fighters kind of go in front. You go 4 as well. And the rest will be just right behind the door here. You can only have one per space. As you enter, you put the door on the end of the mine shaft there. The sound of the wind fades away as you move into the mine. The air in here is cool and wet, so it feels as if you are walking through a thick fog. Then we'll check for wandering monsters. Roll d6. On a 1 to 5, there's no monsters. 6, there's a monster. When there's a wandering monster, the DM can choose from the list of available wandering monsters for this scenario, which is shown here. And I'll go ahead and choose a goblin. And I'm supposed to just show them the picture in the card, but not the stats on the back. If there wasn't a one-ring monster, then they could have done exploring, but they have to deal with a one-ring monster now. Check for a surprise. DM rolls 6-sided. On a 1 to 2, the monsters are surprised. Player his roll. 1 and 2, they're surprised, but so neither are surprised. So a goblin appears, and he's coming from room B, and he'll go right through the door and go into the mine shaft. Neither are surprised. So we check the monster reaction. Here's the stats of the goblin. Its alignment is evil. Check the monster reaction. Its alignment is evil. On a roll of 2, it'll wait. All the adventurers are starting out at level 1, and they increase in level whenever they complete an adventure. So after they complete this adventure, they'll go up to level 2. When they level up, the warriors get their fighting value goes down by 1, and the lower the fighting value, the more effective they are at fighting. And the spellcasters, the wizards, elves, and clerics all get 1 more spell. Then they also, all the characters get to increase their hit points by the type of class they are. For instance, fighters add 8 hit points to their totals, and wizards gain 4. And when they start out, the spellcasters get the amount of spells of what their class level is, in this case 1, and then what their modifier is. And the modifier for elves and wizards is intelligence. And then they draw from the wizard elf spells, of course. And the modifier for the cleric is wisdom. So in our case, both the wizard and the elf have a 16 intelligence, so they get a +2. So they get a total of 3 spells from the wizard elf deck. And the cleric has a wisdom modifier of 2, since he has a wisdom of 16. So he gets 1 + 2 from the cleric deck. And the spells they're choosing are, the wizard will take Magic Missile, Lightning Bolt, Shocking Grasp. The elf will take Fireball, Sleep, and Haste. And the cleric will take Revive, Remove Traps, and Cure. As we get into play here too, I'll need a means of tracking for both the monsters and the characters what their initiative is, which defines their order of actions, and also their hit points. So I'll just have a little sheet here, I'll keep track of that. And for the monster reaction, there's the monster reaction table, but there's also DM judgment of basically the judgment of the monsters that are in the scenario. So I'm going to say that since it's hostile, the monsters will either wait or attack, but they won't help if I were to do that roll. Otherwise, I might just assume that they'll automatically attack. Maybe as you get deeper into the cavern. So let me roll for initiative. D20 for each. The monster chose to wait, so he'll go after the heroes go. So I'll go with the heroes. Miguel, 8. Andreas, 5. Phoenix, 3. Desmius, 7. Glorin, 11. Orin, 6. and the higher the better. So Glorin goes first. He's got a movement of 4. He's behind the door right now. It says you can move in any direction, so I assume diagonal works as well. He'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. And he's got a short bow, but he also has his wizard spell. He'd like to cast a fireball, but its range is only 6 spaces. Can't quite make it. He'll do a short bow. And a short bow's range is 12. Does 1d6. His fighting is 19. The goblin's armor class is 6. And with a ranged weapon, you get your dexterity bonus. So it'd be, he needs a 19 minus 6, which is 13. But then he gets his bonus on top of that. And his dexterity bonus is plus 2. 13 plus 2. He did it with the 13, but he also gets bonus. So he hits, and it does 1d6 of damage. Roll for damage. And in combat, you also add your bonuses. For ranged weapons, the bonus is your dexterity. For whether you hit and also damage, and in close combat, it's strength for both whether you hit and also damage. 1d6 plus his dexterity bonus, which is 2, so 4 damage. And he's got 4 hit points, so he's gone. That's pretty quick. Set him off to the side. The other characters will move, they won't. They'll keep on moving up to the door. Who's next is Miko. Can move 4. And then Dasmius. Looks like everybody moves 4. He can only move up here because he can't land on anybody. And then Arden goes 4. Can move 4, but he can't land on anybody, so he can't move. Andreas. And Phoenix. And see if there's any healing they want to do or anything, but there's none. Then they'll move to the next turn. Do a 1-ring monster check. There's no monsters. Do ability checks. Do various actions. For their non-combat actions, I'll just let them go in the order they're laid out here. So Mikhail will go. He'll just move. Then Andres. Dwarf. And then we'll get to the elf. He's gonna check for traps. And for that he'll use a dexterity ability check where he rolls the ability check is his score or less, so he'll need 12 or less. Nope. There aren't any traps in the room, but he doesn't know that there's not. Glorin feels he needs to move up a little bit. Arn will come into the room. In the rules they say when you're done exploring the room you can just say the adventurers are going to the next room, but I think it makes more sense to just have them move in their sequence to get to the next room. So I'll keep doing that. Mikhail goes and he enters the room. I'll read to the players. As you open the door to this room, a horrible smell fills your noses. The floor of this rough cave is covered with trash and flies buzz in the air. Several furs have been placed on the floor here, clearly to be used as beds. As a matter of fact, two of the beds are in use, and a pair of monsters jumps out of them as you enter. One is a goblin, and the other is a kobold. They hiss at you and attack. So I'll put the goblin and kobold in the locations shown in the map. And to the DM's knowledge, the kobold and goblin are very smart. They take the heroes no matter what. They'll try to team up on the first hero to enter the room, attacking him until either they're killed or the heroes run. They will not follow running heroes, but they'll still be there if the heroes come back. And the monsters have no treasure, but they do have two useful pieces of equipment, and you draw 2 cards from the equipment deck, and to kill the monsters to get those. First we'll check if either the hero or the monsters are surprised. And right now there's only the one hero, Macav, in the room. Roll for monster. Not surprised. Heroes. Not surprised. Nobody's surprised. You roll for initiative. And I'm assuming, even though there's one here in the room, he can communicate to the others what's going on, so they'll do their initiatives as well. And also I'll do the monsters, but I'll do the heroes first. Some high rolls. And the 2 monsters. So there's a tie with the monster and Andres, and I'll just... Oh, the first is, it's not in the room yet. Can move 4. He's got a dagger. And he'll use it as a ranged weapon. When you use a dagger as a ranged weapon, looking at its chart here, it's got a range of 3. His fight is 19. He'll fight the goblin, which has a armor class of 6. 13, and then he's doing range, so he's got dexterity, doesn't have any dexterity bonus, so he's 13 or better. Hits, does 1 to 4 points damage. 4. Goblin only has 4 hit points, so he's down. So, successful attack. He's outside the room, so he wants to move in. Can move 4. He's not in close combat yet either, so he'll use, he's got a dagger as well, does the same thing. His fighting is 19, so he does have a +1 dexterity bonus though, so he needs can add 1 to the roll. 16 hits, see how much damage. 1 plus 1 for the modifier, so 2 points damage. The kobold only has 3 hit points, so he's down to 1. Right there, he's down to 1 hit point here. Then the kobold goes. You can move 3. Closest one is here. So he'll be going after Phoenix the Dwarf. His fighting is 20, and Phoenix's armor class is 5 or 4 if he doesn't have a shield, but he's using a shield. So it's 5. Needs 15 or better. No adjustments. Hit. Does, using a dagger, he does 1 to 4. 2 points damage on Phoenix. So he starts at 9 hit points, so he's down to 7. And next up, turn order is Dosmius. He's a cleric. He's going to look at his spells. He's got Cure, Remove Traps, or Revive. It's probably not too necessary, but he's going to go up and revive Phoenix. It's a touch spell, but actually he's back a ways. He's quite far back, so he's got to catch up before he can do anything. Can he move 4? That's all he can do, because he's out of range of his different spells. As far as weapons, he doesn't have any ranged weapons, just got a mace. So he can't fire anything. And then we go to Mikhail. He'll go up here and do close combat. And with close combat, use your strength bonus. He's got a +3 strength for both hitting and damage. He's fighting as 19. He's got 9 hit points going against Cobalt, so 19 versus armor class of 7, so 12. 18 plus the +3, so we definitely hit him. As far as damage, his weapon. Too many treasures, but they do have items. See, from the item deck, the DM draws a couple items and decides. One is going to be a grappling hook. The other will be a vial of blessed water. And the vial of blessed water is used against undead monsters. Grappling hook. You can throw up to 25 feet away and try to grapple objects, like climb over a wall or grab things. Figure out who's going to have them. I'll have Phoenix have the grappling hook. And the cleric will have the vial of blessed water. I'll just wait in this room until the other heroes come in, but so a lot of these guys move. This guy's going to check for traps, and that's probably a wisdom ability score. Funny traps. There may have been some, but they're not. There's not actually in the room. Look for secret doors. Perception is probably wisdom, which you want below your value, which is 16 or less. Don't find any. Check for wandering monsters. Nope. Check more for secret doors. Get some. You want low rolls. Don't see any. And there aren't any anyway. And then these guys will come in. He'll do the only one damaged is Phoenix, so the cleric will do a cure on him. And all the spells are automatic, which is interesting. But you get 1 to 8 hit points back. It's back, so he only needed 2, so he's back to full. So everybody's back to full strength now. Do one more wandering monster check. Nope. Everybody's in this room, and they're going to start going up to the next room. Go on the standard order again. Mikhail will go in there. This is the room Mikhail sees. It's a hallway with 4 doors. There's a narrow cavern cut through the stone. Small pools of water spread across the floor. The occasional drip and splash of water dripping from the walls and ceilings that goes in the air. I'll do a wandering monster check. Nope. Mikhail will search for traps. It's an ability check. Doesn't see any, there's not any. Then the others will move in. Others will go ahead and they'll just all group in the hallway here, or about to be in the hallway. Do another running monster chuck. Nope. Mikhail will go in this room. Here in this small room, let's stick with the smell of rotting meat. A pile of bones stands in the corner. An orc has claimed his place as his lair. When it's easy, it roars and attacks. From the description, the orc's not surprised, but we'll see if the heroes are. They're not surprised. Then we'll do initiative. Roll for the monster and for everybody. From the initiative, or when the wizard goes first. He's going to get close enough to do a couple magic missiles, and he has to get within 6 to do that. First he'll... Turns out it can be right there. Magic missiles do 1 to 4, and for each level you get to do 2. So he gets to roll the first dice. The orc has 4 hit points. 3. 7, he's down. Say we'll take him down. Now that the battle's over, they'll spend some time exploring. Mikhail will search over the monster's body to see if there's any treasure, and it's up to, it's an ability check, and it's up to the DM what abilities to use for that. I think wisdom is a reasonable one, so he needs his ability score less, so 12 or less. He looks and he doesn't find any treasure, so there's no treasure on him. Andres will search for secret passages. Doesn't find any. And then Phoenix the dwarf will search for secret passages as well. He needs 12 or less. And actually he does find, he makes his ability roll and he finds a bag of gold. So he gets that, and you can trade this for an equipment card. And he'll go ahead and he'll trade that for some hammer and spikes. So he has that now. In the hallway, they'll check for secret doors as well. Don't find any. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of a sense of how it plays. So that's Dragon Quest from TSR in 1892. It's definitely an entry-level D&D light game. I mean, I liked Hero Quest, and this differs from that in that things aren't as they are, or I guess kind of scripted as they are in Hero Quest. Although Hero Quest is a great game, it's quite different than this. There's a lot of judgment with a DM, for instance, as far as ability checks, etc. So it's definitely a D&D light. Gets the concepts of making character choices, and also is a kind of learning for the DM too, showing him how to make judgments, showing them how to make judgments. Components are fine, especially for the day. The board is great, and actually is very versatile, can be used for other D&D adventures. Characters are fine. Actually, I enjoyed using the plastic miniatures even better than the other metal ones included. Although I've painted the metal, I'm sure they're fine. The stand-ups for both the doors and monsters are very simplistic. It might be nice if they actually had stands and then cardboard cutouts you put in the stands, but I'm sure that would have been an expense. I like how you can choose your spells. It is interesting that spells automatically hit, which is quite a simplistic way of looking at it, instead of the person they're attacking being able to make saving throws. But it's an intro to D&D, and I think it's worth it. Recommend it for a D&D light. I mean, it's kind of more of a historical thing now, but it's still, you can use it to get into 5th edition too as well, I'm sure. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Thanks a lot.